everyone, I'm Lucy from Sew Essential and I'm here today to share what I've been making. So everything I talk about today is available on our lovely website, and you'll find the links to our website and the products I talk about below. If you like what you see today, please like and subscribe, because every Friday I bring you a video packed full of sewing goodness. And if you can't wait a whole week, do jump on and have a look on our Instagram account, where I share daily posts on our grid of what I'm making, little tips and sewing techniques, and then sometimes full length pictures of my makes as well, so you can get lots more sewing inspo there. So let's get started with the first make that I want to show you, which is this wonderful t-shirt dress, which I am so pleased with and has been absolutely perfect to wear during this lovely hot weather that we've just started having in the UK. Thank you. I'm so pleased that we finally have some sunshine. So I've already worn this. I wore it on Sunday and I'm wearing it today, Tuesday. I've washed it and worn it again because it is just the perfect summer day dress. Perfect for work, perfect for taking the kids to the park, perfect for just lounging around at home. And it is just a very simple t-shirt dress, which I've made in our beautifully super soft cotton jersey fabric, which comes in, we've got 3 different colourways of this. It's got this very thin stripe. There's a pale blue and grey and a pale pink and grey as well, but I chose this sort of turquoise and navy colourway, which I absolutely love. I used a little navy neckband on it just for a bit of contrast and interest, and it's a cotton jersey. It's a beautiful weight. It's the perfect weight for this pattern, because it's fairly sort of weighty and substantial. It's not a really flimsy one, so it's really nice for this sort of dress. I feel comfortable in it. I think it hangs really nicely. And yeah, it's just ideal really. So I'll just show you the length. Now I had to shorten this quite considerably. I'm 5'6" and it's meant to be a midi length, so it was coming down to here somewhere, which wasn't very flattering on me because I wanted to wear it with my trainers. So if I had it down to there and wore it with my trainers, it just didn't look great on me. So I thought I probably need to shorten it and just give my legs a little bit of extra length when I'm wearing it with the flat trainers. But you know, if I was wearing it with sandals, I probably would have kept it that long a midi length. I made a 12 at the bust and graded to a 14 at the waist and hips, and that's worked out really well. There is a centre back seam bit, which is a curved seam. And I was a little bit worried initially that maybe I needed to take some out of that, but I'd sort of stripe matched and I'd already got the neckband on. But actually in the end I was quite pleased with the fit, because I didn't want it to be skin tight, you know, I wanted it to be a casual, comfortable, easy to wear day dress. So there is a little bit of excess round there, but you know, I'm happy with that amount of ease there. And the rest of the fit I was really pleased with as well. So yeah, all in all, just a really useful dress to have in my wardrobe for summer that I know I'm going to wear all the time. The other thing is it's a super quick and simple sew as well. So I'll talk to you about that in a minute. I just want to give you some details on the pattern first. I haven't told you yet which pattern it is, so I've raved about the gorgeous fabric. I've also made a t-shirt in this fabric before as well, and I've washed and worn that loads, so I know that it washes and wears beautifully. It's really lovely quality cotton jersey. The pattern is Simplicity 8982. So there's the option for the midi length dress, which I've made. It's supposed to have long sleeves and I shortened those, but I'll talk to you about that in a minute. There's also, you can make just a crew neck long sleeve top. There's also a little sort of turtleneck, a small turtleneck with a sort of balloon sleeve and deep cuff. That you can make as well, probably more suitable for winter. And then there's a midi length skirt and a knee length skirt as well, so loads of mileage in this pattern, loads of different options. Now I know the fit's really good on the body for me. I think I will probably make t-shirts and things using this pattern as well, so really useful to have in your stash. The body measurements go from a size 6, which is a 30.5 bust, 23 waist and 32.5 hip, up to a 44, which is, up to a 22, which is a 44 bust, 37 waist and 46 hip. So I made the 12 and graded to the 14, and the 12 was supposed to be for a 34 bust, which is about bang on for me, and the 14 was a 28 waist and 38 hip, and again that's about bang on for me. So the sizing I felt was good on this pattern and sort of fitted well, considering my body measurements were in those sizes. So yeah, really useful pattern to have in your stash. And as I was going to say, I think, you know, it's got those few different options for lots of basics in your wardrobe, everyday wear, options for winter and summer in there if you shorten the sleeves, which I'll talk to you about in a minute. The other thing is it's a super quick and easy sew. Now, I made life a bit more difficult for myself because I decided to stripe match down the side seams and also the centre back seam as well. So obviously that took a bit of time. When I was cutting out the fabric, I had to really consider how I was positioning the fabric. If you're not aware, just use the notches on your pattern pieces and make sure the notches are lining up when you cut out. That gives you a good head start. And then when sewing it together, I pinned, you know, every few stripes, I pinned them together, and I pinned at right angles to the fabric rather than pinning parallel to the raw edge of the fabric. I pinned at right angles through the stripe and made sure that the stripes were matching up accurately before I then sewed it. I sewed the whole thing on my overlocker, and that prevented the stripes from moving as I sewed. But if you've got to do it on a sewing machine, do use a walking foot for that, because that will ensure that the two layers feed through evenly and your fabric doesn't move and your stripes don't shift. I will put a link to our overlocker tips video that I did a while back, because I used some of the techniques on there on this dress. So when I did the neckband, I cut a little section out of the neckband, because when you're sewing in the round on the overlocker, when you get to the end, it can be quite awkward. But with this little tip, if you cut a section out, it can make life easier so that it all joins up nicely at the end, and that always works really well. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I need to say about the construction. Alterations and adjustments wise, I did my usual high round back and forward shoulder. I do that on every pattern I ever make, so that was pretty straightforward. But I didn't have to. I did the grading from the 12 to the 14, but I didn't make any other adjustments apart from, as I mentioned earlier, I did cut a substantial amount off the length just because I felt that the knee length was more flattering with the trainers that I knew I would want to wear it with most of the time. With regards to shortening the sleeve, all I did was I wanted to keep the full length sleeve intact, because I am somebody who cuts the pattern straight out, I don't trace. So what I did was I just folded the excess fabric up and pinned it in place behind where I wanted the sleeve to finish, so that then I can unpin that and release that tissue paper and still have a full length sleeve on there. I did fold the pattern back to create the little kicks that you need at the side, so that the hem matches up when you hem it. And the way you do that, you just fold the paper back on itself, and you just fill in. You'll see there'll be a little triangle missing, and if you just fill that in with tissue paper, you'll then have the right size there for when you do hem it, so that everything matches up nicely. I did put a post on Instagram about that, which explains it in a little bit more detail if you need that. The other thing I should mention as well is I always use a stretch interfacing. We've got stretch interfacing in black and white on our website, and I'll pop links to that below. I always use that on the neckband just to give it a little bit of stability, I suppose, and just make it a little bit stiffer. And then I always like to use this seam tape as well, and I iron that on in the seam allowance around the neckline on the bodice, and that just stabilizes everything as well, so that I know I'm going to get a nice finish on the neckband. So I'll pop links to those products below. The other thing I did was I stabilised the shoulder seams with some narrow ribbon. It's just a really nice pretty finish, just a bit better than I think than seam tape or some of the other products you can get. It's, you know, you can match the colour to your garment or go for a nice contrast or whatever, so I did that as well. And the other thing I did was I did taper the hemline in slightly, just so that it's not sticking out at the end. So I just tapered it in slightly, and that's a good tip for if you're making pencil skirts and skirts this shape anyway. I mean, I was shortening from the midi length to the shorter length, so I was sort of cutting it off at the wrong place, so it wasn't tapered, so I needed to taper that in. But you will sometimes find that pencil skirts and that sort of thing aren't drafted with that tapering at the hem. It's a tip Angela told me years ago, and it's always nice to do that because it does just give it that, I think, a better shape. And all I did was I just marked from about, I sort of went about 4 inches up from the raw edge of the fabric, and just went out about 1/2 inch at the hem and just tapered it with a bit of chalk and then copied it on the other side. I did use my walking foot and just tack those seams first to make sure I was happy with that, make sure I was happy with the length and everything as well before I took it to the overlocker, because I do like to do that. But all in all, really easy. If you made this in a plain fabric or a fabric that didn't need pattern matching, you could probably quite easily whip this up in, you know, a few hours on an overlocker. It really was dead simple. It's just a matter of sewing your shoulder seams together, sewing your side and centre back seams, getting your neckband on, and then getting your sleeves in. But I mean, I did the sleeves in the traditional t-shirt way as well. I sewed the shoulder seam first, and then I sewed the side seam and the sleeve seam all in one, which makes it super easy. So yeah, it reduces the number of steps. But yeah, super easy make, lovely and comfortable to wear. We've got loads of gorgeous jerseys on the website you could make this with if you don't want to bother with the stripe matching. I didn't stripe match the sleeves either. Some you might notice that and point it out perhaps. I didn't bother doing that because I just think, well, it goes round a curve anyway. You're never going to get it spot on all the way around. So I'm quite happy with it not matching there, but I do like them to match on the side seams and the centre back seam, which some people might think is weird, I don't know. But anyway, that's what I did. I hope you've enjoyed those musings on this super simple make. I really enjoyed making it. I'm going to be wearing it so much this summer. I'd highly recommend this pattern to everybody. And as I mentioned at the start of the video, everything I talk about you can find below. I'll pop links to like any tutorials, tips and products and things below for you. And if you like what you see today, please like and subscribe, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.